Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're finally looking at, don't mind the dogs, we're finally looking at the Verve belt squat. I apologise for my little hiatus. I've been sick, quite sick actually, so we're finally back to it. And yeah, I've been really excited to get to this piece because it's the only sort of properly commercial piece that I have, and it's from Verve. If you don't know about Verve, they're a commercial gym equipment company in Australia. Very similar to Rep Fitness or even Rogue. They're sort of almost on that level. As you can sort of see, I actually have this piece of equipment outside. It is a pretty big piece of equipment. It's 2100 wide by about 1.5 meters deep. Maybe 600-700 mil tall. So it's a big piece of equipment, and you can expect that for commercial quality stuff and commercial quality machines, because in general they do sort of one exercise, they do it really well, and they're really strong at that because they're meant to be in a commercial gym where they just get flogged all day. In the home gym setting, however, I suppose this gets into the first pro and really good thing about it. You can actually do more than just belt squats with this. Okay, so for a while I did rows off this where you just attach a handle here. As soon as this comes up, this support drops back, and yeah, you can attach a handle there and do rows. So I did that for targeting sort of the upper traps and mid to upper back. It works really well. So you can basically use anything you can think of when it comes to attaching a carabiner to here and some sort of cable attachment, any sort of handles you can use. So rows, curls, lots of pulling movements essentially, because you're just pulling from the floor. Probably the best thing about this machine is just how sturdy it is though. There are a few weak points, I'll get to that, but as I said, it's a commercial piece of equipment. The steel's thick, it's heavy, it's really heavy. Just something you got to be aware of if you're putting it on a suspended floor in your house. Just be mindful that you might actually exceed the weight limit of the floor in that area when you start packing heaps of weights on it, like your body weight and the machine. It's several hundred kilos. Another pro, other than obviously the build quality and everything, is the weight storage itself. So you can store, what's that, 4, you can get another 2 on there. So you can have 6, you can have 12, you have 6 per peg, 20 kilo weights per peg. That's a lot of weight to store there. As you can see, I've got some 5 kilo bumper plates down here and a 10 kilo, and the rest of these are 20 kilos. I can't say I've ever used 3 or 4 plates aside. It's massive weight. Another good thing is you have this safety stopper. So this can actually come up. So if you wanted to do sort of partial reps or basically at any point, I never found I needed to use it. I mean, I'm 6'3", and I could, I don't have great mobility, but I could still squat to depth with this. And I still found that I could just put the safety stopper all the way to the bottom like it is there. You can see it's a really, really beefy hitch pin. So yeah, you can drop a lot of weight on that. It's going to be fine, totally fine. I suppose it brings me into the cons. As I said, it is a heavy machine. It's very wide, so you're taking up a lot of real estate in a smaller home gym if you choose to get something like this. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. As I said, you can use it for several exercises, but you just have to keep that in mind. Like, this is the leg press over here that I've done a review of, and that's significantly smaller. The other thing is, and they've fixed it on the, if you go onto the Verve website, they have an updated model. This is the first model. You see here, the way that this sort of whole assembly hinges is just on some bolts. That's all. It's a bit dodgy if you ask me. I think it would be better to have some sort of bearing, which the new ones do have. So if you're buying this new from Verve, it'll have a bearing system instead of just bolts. This is the original, this is their first iteration, and it's very, very, very similar to the Titan Fitness belt squat, the first variation of that. Basically the same thing, which they're all of these style belt squats are based off the Matt Wenning belt squat. I think the other con, which again they have fixed with the current model, which is coming out soon, is that this doesn't extend. So I always found when I was stepping here, I almost wanted to step off of it. Like the weight just brings it forward just a tiny bit, because when you go down, the lever arm actually goes that way a little bit. Is it like a game breaker? No, it's still a really good piece of machinery. I just want to go over the safety here. It's not reinventing the wheel. All it has is an upright with a J-cup, and so you can adjust it there. I don't really notice much difference. I mean, maybe if it's super short, you might adjust it differently, but most people are going to have it there and leave it. So this is sort of how it works. Lift it up. This comes back. Then you can do your reps. As you can see, mine's a bit dirty from being outside, but it's worked really well. Now, I don't actually use this anymore. I bought this for $300 off a guy who was closing most of his gym down and really downsizing. But these things are like $1,700 new. So I'm going to sell it, but only because I have the Smith machine, and I can do belt squats on the Smith machine inside. And it's also a vertical line of drive with the Smith machine. So that's probably the last con, is if you look up belt squat machines, there's two different types. There's these lever arm belt squats, and there's the cable and sort of weight plate loading pin style belt squats. And any of these lever arm belt squats, as I said before, sort of alluded to, because the weight's on an arm, it doesn't go directly down. It's just something to keep in mind. It's still a really good machine. It still works your legs really well. It's just a slightly different feel. Don't mind the dogs. Getting a bit windy. I hope that's not coming through too bad on the phone. Anyways, thanks for watching. I have just received today a really cheap SSB. It'd be cool to use that and show you guys the cheapest safety squat bar you can get in Australia. So that's probably the next review coming up. I also have a review for a leg extension leg curl machine. So yeah, that's all coming in the pipeline. Again, thanks for watching. Hit subscribe and follow me on Instagram as well. Cheers.